I gotta be honest with you. I don't even know where to start with this one. We had what looked like was going to be a great day for racing. Less than 20% chance of rain. Last year, the rain plagued it, shortened the race. But this year, the hype was there. The excitement was there. Everyone was talking about how at the track, the vibes were so positive. Everyone was so excited for this race. Freaking thunderstorms show up. And then the favorites, all the favorites crash out. Shane Van Gisbergen and Kyle Larson were the heavy favorites in this one. SVG got wrecked by Briscoe at the beginning of stage 2. Kyle Larson drove straight into the tires early in one of the stages, stage 2, stage 3. And then at the end of this race, the strategy got freaky. We had guys on rain tires who stayed out, flipped the script the flip, whatever it's called, and they essentially completely changed the results of this race and in a sense blew up the playoff bubble because Alex Bowman, who has not won in 80 races, he has not won since Las Vegas of 2022, won this race. He was able to stay out on those wet weather tires, make them last as long as they possibly could, and he won. He was on the playoff bubble. He had a good amount of points, but the thing is that he was the last guy in. So let's say Michael McDowell won that race. Alex Bowman is all of a sudden out of the playoffs and fighting Buescher, Gibbs, Chastain for a playoff spot. But now, instead what that does is Bowman is elevated and he is locked into the playoffs, and now Chris Buescher is on that cutoff line. Joey Hand competed for a NASCAR win today. I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm just saying I did not see that coming. Hand ran top 15 all day, and he led some laps. He did a great job today. He's a world-class driver. Anyways, as I said, what didn't happen in this race? We saw guys driving straight on into the wall. We saw Josh Berry try to recreate what Noah Gragson did last year. He had about 6 incidents. Maybe it was 5. I lost count after 4. Chase Briscoe wrecked himself a couple times. Ryan Preece, Stuart Haas Racing just really enjoyed the wall today. We actually saw some good racing, if you ask me. Once the wet weather kicks in, it makes things more exciting. But even in the dry at the beginning of this race, and we had some guys on wet tires, some guys on dry tires, I would say the track was damp. Kind of like what we saw this morning in the F1 race where you couldn't go flat out. You couldn't push 100% or else you'd wreck because it was damp. But you could still run on the slicks and get a good bit of speed. But if you were on the wet weather tires, you could, explore around a little bit. Take a little more optimistic line, if you will. But both tires were fast at the time. And then the rain hit. And then it hit hard. And then it hit harder. And then we were in like a 2-hour red flag delay. And here's my complaint. I love the idea of a street race. I honestly think this is the perfect street race. This track has so many passing opportunities with how competitive this field is, with how bumpy the track is, with, a little bit of rain that helps too. But I think this is a great event. NASCAR's bought all in. Chicago seemingly has bought all in. They have all these concerts planned around it. The racing is great, and haters will be some haters, they're sentimental to Road America, Chicago, the 4th of July, Daytona weekend, and I get it. Everyone's sentimental about their own things, and you're allowed to be, but watch the actual racing. It's extremely enjoyable. And, some people just either don't like Chicago, they don't like street courses, whatever it may be, and you're allowed to have that opinion. But once again, watch the actual racing. It was great racing throughout the day. It was intriguing. It was fun. Different guys up front. Christopher Bell had one of the best cars. Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs. So we had these different guys up front. We had different strategies. But my one complaint, as I said, why was this a 3:30 start? When you don't have lights, when this race last year was plagued by rain, when there's the possibility, why? Why would you start this race when you have less than 5 hours of daylight? I don't understand it. I get that you have the wet weather tires, but sometimes when it rains, it pours. There's a reason people say that. And today and last year, it poured. This is the second straight year we didn't go the scheduled distance. I get they want to get all their concerts in before the race, but why can't some of them be post-race, I don't know most of the artists. I know Keith Urban, the Chainsmokers. I didn't know who the other two were. And once again, I'm not a musical expert at all. You're asking the wrong person. But why couldn't we do, let's say, 2 before, 2 after? Like, why couldn't this have been a 1:30, 2:30 start, give us a little bit extra time, give us a chance to get to the end of this thing? I do like that they have a clock that says if we can't reach the finish of this race, we have a hard minute. Once we hit that minute, it's 2 laps to go. No matter what happens, this race can end under caution no matter what happens. I do like that because of what we saw last year. It really flipped the race on its head. And so I do appreciate that. But once again, why was this race starting so late in the day? Why couldn't we have started this at 1:30? But TV ratings is my guess. But anyways, as I said, good racing throughout the day. The wet weather tires versus the dry tires just really added an extra element, made some great racing. And even in the dry, as I said, great racing throughout the day. But as for the results, oh my goodness. Alex Bowman, he didn't nuke the playoff field, but he definitely blew it up a little bit because now Chris Buescher's on the playoff cutoff line. Him and I think it's Ross Chastain are really close if we get a new winner in the next few weeks. But Alex Bowman was your winner. Early in the day, spun out Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace decided to let his frustration be known, and he's allowed to be frustrated, but it was a little aggressive on the cool-down lap. But once again, we'll talk about that later. Alex Bowman, 80 race winless streak, broke his back last year, had a concussion a year and a half ago, and here he is, the last of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers to lock himself into the playoffs. We've seen so many winless streaks snap this year. In fact, this is back-to-back weeks of winless streaks snapped. This week it was Alex Bowman. Last week it was Joey Logano. Earlier in the year, we saw Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez break long winless streaks. I'm probably missing 1 or 2, honestly. But long winless streaks, this is the year that they are getting snapped. And it is the year that maybe we could see 16 playoff drivers with wins. We're at 12 right now, and I'd say there's 4 capable guys of winning right now. So I don't think anyone's safe on points right now. I mean, realistically, we'll probably only see 14 or 15, but there's 6 races to go. It's possible with Daytona in there and with the Brickyard coming back and Pocono sometimes a fuel mileage race. Short track, we could see a Josh Berry or something. Man, it could get freaky here, but Alex Bowman no longer has to worry about points. People are going to call this win Mickey Mouse or whatever, but he drove his butt off those last 15 laps, and Tyler Reddick was chasing him down. Should have had this win if you ask me, but ultimately, just straight up, he choked. Tyler Reddick finishes second for the second consecutive, well, no, last week he technically finished third, but the second consecutive week Tyler Reddick should have won. I feel like Tyler Reddick should have 5 or 6 wins this year. Vegas, he got close, but not close enough. Texas, he had the best car, but the late race cautions and Reddick himself making some mistakes, and 2311's pit crew making a mistake cost him there. He got the win at Talladega, yes, but today, he had top 5 speed all day. He was running up front. I think he led a couple laps, but after Christopher Bell got taken out, he was the top car on the slick tires, chasing everyone down, and he was 3.5 seconds back with a lap and a half to go, and all of a sudden, he's about a second back with half a lap to go, and on those slick tires, he was going to get there. He was going to win this race in the Michael Jordan paint scheme, in the special Chicago Michael Jordan paint scheme in downtown Chicago. He hits the inside wall, ruins his day. Well, he still finished second, so good points day, but Tyler Reddick should have so many wins this season, and he just kind of choked it. He had a great opportunity to win today. He was looking like he was in prime position, ruin Alex Bowman's playoff chances, but ultimately Reddick just hit the inside wall. He messed up, and he has to settle for second. Third place, Ty Gibbs, top 5 all day long. Led a few laps in this thing. Really good day for him. But once again, I think it's going to come down to wins. And once again, yes, a really good points day, but if we have 16 winners and you don't have a win, then you're sitting outside the playoffs. But Ty Gibbs started on the front row today, ran well all day long, despite the different strategies, had to come up through the field, and ultimately a third place finish. Fourth place, oh my goodness, there was a solid 7-8 seconds I thought he was going to get it done. Joey Hand almost became the second non-NASCAR driver to win the Chicago street race. Of course, last year SVG before he transitioned to NASCAR. But Joey Hand led about 10 laps in this race thanks to strategy. The strategy was essentially stay out on those old wet weather tires while everyone else pitted with 2 laps to go in stage 2, and then stay out at the end of stage 2 because there's only 15, 20 minutes left. You're assuming there's going to be cautions, and just hope that you can outrun the field and that everyone else behind you holds them up. Joey Hand won stage 2. Your stage winners today. If I told you this a year ago, you wouldn't know what I'm saying. I'd basically be speaking Japanese to you. Stage 1 winner, Shane Van Gisbergen. Stage 2 winner, Joey Hand. Those words just came out of my mouth. Joey Hand won a stage. He finished 4th in this race. He was top 15 all day. I'm serious. When they were just running on raw speed, Joey Hand was top 15. He did an incredible job today in that stage 60 car for RFK. We've seen Cam Waters in that car, David Reagan. Joey Hand did a tremendous job today. The 45-year-old, tremendous job, top 5. 5th place, Michael McDowell, was in the back most of the day, honestly. Pitted very early in this race out of the top 10, and that essentially messed up his day, but they were able to rally. They were able to use those slick tires at the end of this race and slice and dice through the field to a top 5 finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. got 6th on the road course after going around 2 or 3 times. He must have been on the slicks there. Other than that, I have no idea. I got to be honest, I don't know about that one. 7th, Todd Gilliland continues to impress. He has done fantastic this year. He has so many top 20 finishes, and on the road courses, I think this is back-to-back top 10s on the road courses. He was running top 5 on speed at one point in this race, up before the strategy there at the end. He was running 3rd or 4th, I want to say. And then the strategy hit. They had to slice and dice through traffic, and he ends up 7th, which is still a great result. But Todd Gilliland, an extremely impressive run. Once again, ran top 10 most of the day, top 5 late in the day, ends up 7th. 8th place, William Byron. That's another guy I forgot existed today. 9th place, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. It is the end of the world. Kyle Busch finished a race. He's been on the coldest streak of all time. He's got like 4 35th place finishes in the last 5 or 6 races. They run top 5, top 10, and then they get wrecked or something crazy happens, and then all of a sudden, they're 100 points out of the playoffs. But Kyle Busch finishes 9th. I know they need a win at this point. I know everything has gone wrong, and they might be a little bit disappointed. But with the way things have gone, you've got to just sit back and say, all right, we finished a race, and not only that, we got a top 10. We've got to be happy with that. With how bad everything has gone these last few weeks, we have to take our wins when we can get them. Let's settle down. We know we can finish races. We know we can get in the top 10. Now let's take it, use that momentum, go do something at Pocono. 10th place, Ryan Blaney. Good top 10 for him. 11th place, Suarez. 12th, Hemrick. 13th, Bubba Wallace. Yeah, he got dumped on lap early in stage 1, and he qualified top 10, was having a great run. Bubba Wallace, not a great road course racer, but is really focused on improving himself on these road courses. I think he got a top 10 at Indy or Watkins Glen last year, ran in the stage points, and it was looking like it was going to be another good day before he got wrecked by Bowman. And with the way he showed his displeasure at the end of the race, yeah, I'm okay with showing your displeasure on the cool-down lap, but you can't slam someone in the wall when the window nets are down. He's got his hand out the window because he won the race, and he's waving to everyone. Yeah, he might get a fine for that one. I remember Brad Keselowski when he was in his day of terrorizing the field back in 2014. I think he got a fine for wrecking Tony Stewart on the cool-down lap and Denny Hamlin and all that. So maybe a fine, but not a great look. But still, a great result for him. 13th on a road course. 14th, Noah Gragson. 15th, Austin Cindric. 16th, Justin Haley. A top 20 again for Justin Haley and Rick Ware Racing. 17th, Zane Smith. 18th, Brad Keselowski. I think he got spun on the last lap, if I read that correctly. 19th, Austin Dillon. 20th, Chris Buescher. 21st, Chase Elliott. The top 20 streak is over. What is this, race 19, I think? So, yeah, the top 20 streak is over. Though he might be leading the points again. Maybe. I don't think so. Maybe it's him or Larson. Chastain 22nd, 23rd, Logano 24th, Hocevar 25th, Burton 26th, Casgralla 27th, LaJoy 28th, Josh Bilicki 29th, Eric Jones 30th, Denny Hamlin. Yeah, road courses just aren't his thing, man. Even when he finally got into the top 10, scored some stage points, he wrecked himself a little bit. Austin Hill 31st, 32nd, Chase Briscoe took out SVG and also himself a couple more times just for good measure. 33rd, Truex, really don't know what happened to him. He must have gotten in a wreck or something. He was running top 5 there at that last stint. 34th, Priest, 35th, John Hunter Nemechek? What? John Hunter Nemechek was up there with Todd Gilliland running in the top 5 before the end of stage 2, slicing and dicing his way through the field, and I just now remembered it. Yeah, he got wrecked in turn 12, caught a little bit of air actually, and ultimately 35th. That does not reflect their day. They had top 10 speed today, or they were in the top 10 for a good portion of this race, even in the top 5. They don't deserve a 35th. Yeah, this next one is, honestly, he deserves worse. Josh Berry, man, oh my goodness. What wall did he not hit? Turn 4, turn 2, turn 6, turn 12 maybe? Josh Berry hit almost every wall today. As I said, I lost track at 4. It could have been 6. It could have been 7. Josh Berry could not avoid the wall today. 37th, Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell had the fastest car at the end of this race. And just like last year, when he had the fastest car in the early stages of that race, just got screwed in a sense. And once again for Christopher Bell, another week where he leads a bunch of laps and just gets screwed because he's at the wrong place in the wrong time. I can think of this, Nashville, Gateway, where he's had the fastest car, led the most laps, and something happens. This week he gets wrecked. Everyone starts stacking up at the exit of turn 2. He gets slammed into the wall with Hocevar, and they could be contending for the regular season championship right now if it wasn't for this. But 37th, man, he's probably going to win this next year. It's one of those things where it's like he's run too well that he's got to win it at some point. J. Allmendinger, 38th. 39th, Kyle Larson. Oh, my Lord. Kyle Larson ran top 5 this entire race before, at the beginning of the restart after the rain delay and the wet weather, just boom, into the wall. Yeah, man. He was talking about how everyone just kept getting more confident on the brakes, more confident with their tires, and he was a little overconfident, and he demolished his car into the wall. And then 40th, Shane Van Gisbergen. I'm very curious, when is the last time the top 2 in the odds finished last and second to last? SVG led 9 laps in this race, ran top 5 his entire stint that he was actually out there, won stage 1, led 9 laps, was looking like the favorite once again. Chase Briscoe just completely obliterated him. So disappointment in terms of that, in terms of the championship or the race winning defense, I guess. I always forget it's that time of year where we have to look at the NASCAR playoff standings. Here are your playoff standings. We got 12 guys in on wins. Martin Truex Jr. is plus 125. Ty Gibbs plus 84. I'd say they're feeling pretty good. Unless there's a new winner, then they might be sweating a little bit. Ross Chastain is plus 53. If there's another new winner, he is only plus 8, so he is definitely sweating. Chris Buescher plus 45. He is sweating a lot despite that good points margin. Bubba Wallace minus 45. Not quite in must-win situation, but I would say you got to go for it anyways. Everyone on back, they got to win. So there's your playoff update. Yeah, we knew there was a chance that the playoff grid could get nuked in a sense, and it didn't quite get nuclear today, but it got blown up in a sense. Alex Bowman snaps a long winless streak, adds his name to the list of guys who have snapped their winless streaks, and now adds his list to Chicago street race winners. I really hope this race comes back next year, and in the long term, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I truly have enjoyed the racing at this racetrack, both years, both series. I think it's something great. It's something new, and I just wish everyone would share my appreciation, but apparently not. We got the Monday after tomorrow, our normal post-race live stream every Monday night. I'll make a community post about that tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all for the support, and I will see you at least tomorrow.